It's funny because one day you look at yourself in the mirror and you realize that you really are a full-grown adult. Not that you didn't know this before, obviously you are well into your adulthood, but then like it just clicks in a different way, like it just hits you in a different way. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like a grown adult. And it kind of freaks you out, does it not? It happens to everyone. And we're not necessarily talking about aging, okay? We're talking about the acknowledgement of our evolution, our growing up process, our decaying process, being reminded of our fragility, being reminded of our mortality, being reminded that we indeed are every day getting older and we are going to die. That's part of nature. That's what happens in nature. And we can't defy that. We can't overcome that. There's nothing that we can do to break that rule, break the law of nature. We all return to the source. We come from the source, return to the source. When you make yourself acknowledge this, you realize like what really matters in life and what really doesn't. And of course, this is going to hit everybody differently because everybody has different values and everybody has different priorities that they're living by. But if you're someone who lives with their heart open, then you kind of realize that life really means nothing if you're not happy, if you're not doing something that you love, like if you don't feel connected, no matter how much money that you have, no matter how much you have and who you're surrounded by, how much you're doing. Quality matters. Quality also isn't as common as quantity. And if you have the space for it in your heart and in your mind, and if you are actually a safe adult for your inner child, this is what's going to happen also. You start to see your inner child as a child because now you're an adult, right? So you're no longer a child. And I feel like this is only going to hit people who have done tremendous amount of healing. So if you're still on your healing journey, if you're still feeling like you have to tend to your inner child more than like your adult responsibilities, then it's not gonna hit you the same. You don't feel like a child anymore. Like you don't even want to be a child anymore. You realize when you were a child, you didn't get to have a childhood. And that hits differently also because you grew up so fast and you had to grow up very fast. Because of that, up to a certain point in your adulthood, you might have felt like a child still, you know, like a grown-up but still a child. But then once you do some healing work, once you grow up to a certain point, you become like an actual adult. And I want to say this is after your Saturn return or around Saturn return. So I want to believe most people hit this type of phase. And obviously depending on your level of consciousness, your reactions will differ. But life starts hitting you differently. And you really want to be careful because this type of mentality can go either way. You're either going to get scared and you're gonna feel like you miss out on your chance to do right by yourself, and therefore you're going to give up on yourself and kind of start living recklessly as if you don't care about yourself, or you're going to really get yourself together. You're really going to take a lot of things seriously. The things you might have been neglecting before, you're going to be more mindful of your relationships and even the past relationships where you did something wrong. The reflections come. Okay? If you've had this thought where you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you are like, holy crap, I'm an adult. You feel kind of overwhelmed by the acknowledgement that you no longer have the same privilege that a child does, that you can no longer say, I didn't know, because you're at this point where you should know better, right? So it's like a different type of weight hitting you, but it's also amazing because it means that if you show up for yourself now, you get to become your inner child dream adult. So I want you to use this acknowledgement very wisely, guys. Don't waste this. Don't get scared. Don't resist. And do not give up on yourself. No matter where you're at in your life right now, it's never too late to start living for yourself. And I'm not talking out of my ass either, guys. I am speaking confidently as someone who has assisted hundreds of clients, and most of them are really renewing themselves after the age of late 30s even, or even early 40s. By the societal standards, they're like, that's like the washed age, but that's not true. That's really the age where you can truly begin a new journey. Always remember that a human life is not confined to a certain path. You can always change things up. You can always do better and change your course. And of course, if you want to know what's ahead, you can book a reading with me and I can help you about your directions and choices. But most importantly, you have to know that you want to do this for yourself.